For today's video, we're going to be discussing achievements once again, and how I feel that the achievement system could still continue to be elevated as a way to motivate players to pursue them and to make them more involved with the gameplay itself. Achievement systems in video games is one of those topics that I feel like I'm the only one who thinks very critically on this design. Now, the use of achievements in terms of their formal integration into gameplay happened during the Xbox era. And when Microsoft first announced the system, there was definitely a lot of skepticism around it. Oh, you get a little title and some gamer points, how is this going to catch on? But it certainly did, and in today's market, it's now considered weird if a game or platform doesn't have achievements. And their use has certainly grown, and has been a major form of kind of changing the motivation for playing a video game. Up until that point, video games were very much an intrinsic motivation outside of multiplayer titles. You're not going to run around screaming to your friends, "I beat Super Mario Bros. In under an hour." But when it came to the use of achievements, there's a very wide berth in terms of what separates really good and really bad achievements. Bad achievements are essentially the gimmies. You turn on the game console, you get an achievement. You press start for the first time, you get yourself an achievement. And I'm sure there are many other weird and not so great examples out there. Now, really great achievements usually fall into one of two groups. The first kind are those that test or reward the player for doing something different. Now, that different could be a different build or strategy, or being just some very weird or unique thing that you wouldn't think of doing otherwise. Very recently, a good example would be when we played Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and I did the shoot your gun only one time and beat the entire game achievement. And we can also see this in games such as Sekiro with the no prosthetic tools. And again, there are so many examples of games that have gone this route. The other kind of achievement system is when they reward the player with something in-game. Now, of course, you've probably noticed the footage up there being from the Binding of Isaac as one of the best examples, where the achievements were all tied to the secrets, which in turn unlock new elements for the procedural generation. But another example would be in the many MMOs that came out during the last decade that would introduce achievements that would provide some kind of in-game reward or benefit. Could be a profile or a badge icon, could even be very minute bonuses, plus 1% damage against thieves, attack speed up by 0.005. It didn't have to be anything too extreme, but it just had to be something to reward the player. Now, when it comes to achievement design completely or wholesale, achievements serve two essential purposes. Like we said, they provide an extrinsic motivation to play a game, and they can keep someone playing a game far longer than without it. But they also act as a form of acknowledgement by the developer that you are doing something, that they thought of this crazy idea and they put in the game, and you get this reward for it. And then that reward stays permanent onto your account. Again, this is one of the very good reasons why Steam is still so popular, or continues to be popular, because it has become that one-stop shop for a lot of PC gamers. But we see the same thing with PSN accounts, XBLA, and so on, that it becomes that mark of honor for you, especially for people who go for platinum trophies, whatever the Xbox Live and Steam equivalents are, and so on. Now, there is one very unusual exception, and that is Uplay. Instead of tying achievements to in-game rewards or things like that, they tie it to a persistence system. Many of Ubisoft's first-party titles will have achievements that will reward you with, I forget what it's called, Uplay Club, Ubisoft Club, whatever it is, points. And then these points can be turned in for not only exclusive rewards, excuse me, but you can also turn them in for coupon discounts on any game on the Uplay store. And that's very creative, but it's something that we haven't seen other developers or other companies adopt. And I'm curious what you guys think about that one, because it sounds like something that more companies should have copied or tried to, I guess, quote-unquote, copy or borrow. But there's a lot of trouble and complexity that goes into that, especially with the sheer glut or glutton of Steam games that many of them were designed literally just to be achievement farms. Turn on the game, get an achievement. Press A, get an achievement. You beat the level, get an achievement. And we can probably name a few of those. But whether we're talking about the very best or very worst examples of achievements, there's always been a distinct limitation. And that is that the achievements themselves do not occupy or impact the game space itself. What we mean is that when you earn achievements in whatever game or whatever platform, none of that really translates to the game itself. You may earn a little badge or a little icon, but that's something that is usually hidden away several menus deep. And many games who will try to directly acknowledge their achievements will just literally make it a checklist. And you just click on and you say, okay, here's all achievements, and that's it. So, what I want to talk about for today's video is a term that I've used many times before, and it's what I've coined as trophy room design. And trophy room design simply means that your achievements have an in-game representation. It's not just a list on the screen, it's not just you earning gamer points, but it's directly integrated into the game. And it sounds a lot harder than what it is. So after this quick Patreon supporter and sponsor shoutout break, I want to talk about a game that could have benefited more and what a trophy room can mean towards motivating someone to complete achievements. And now for a quick thank you to our Patreon supporters and current Game Wisdom sponsors. If you would like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. The purpose of a trophy room when it comes to achievement design is that it's a way of internalizing the achievements within the game space itself. This goes beyond simply having it unlock new content or be attached to a menu or window, 3 to 4 layers deep, but providing a way for the player to not only see what they've done, but also see what else they can do within the game. One of my favorite examples in recent years is from the series The 12 Labors of Hercules, which is kind of like a casual time management style game. And what they did was on the main map of each one of their games, you see all these little icons and symbols that correspond to achievements. Every time you complete an achievement, the map updates to show that and to show you what you've done. And ultimately, this is the major point of a trophy room design, that it allows a player to start to understand that they can be rewarded and see those rewards in-game in a unique way. Now, when it comes to trophy room design, most of the time, it's not like very big things that need to be done to make this work. Many cases, you can simply use the art or assets you've already created and just use them in a creative way. And the example you're seeing on screen is one such game, or one game that didn't do that but had the opportunity. This is, of course, Cultist Simulator, a tabletop, almost like narrative adventure game. Again, this is a tough one to explain. But the game makes use of a lot of card art, and a lot of it looks very striking and amazing. Every time you beat the game, win or lose, you get a tarot card that depicts kind of your success or failure. Now, the reason why I brought this up is that with Cultist Simulator here, the issue that I ran into is that none of the rewards for winning the game are ever really shown to the player outside of the end screen. I've had to take screenshots of all the cards or all the endings I've gotten because that's the only way that I could actually see them again. Once you start a new game, all your successes or failures are just white. You'll never see or hear them again. And with this kind of aesthetic and design, I felt that the developers missed a really good opportunity to have a trophy room. As you see on the screen right here, you are staring at a table. So wouldn't it be amazing if you could have certain knickknacks or items on the table to represent the various achievements? Or even just simply like a folder on the table you could click on that would bring up all your endings. And more importantly, it would show the player what they've done and what else they can do, besides having to just quickly thumb through their achievement list on Steam. And ultimately, this is the very interesting point about trophy room designs, that in many cases, it doesn't take a lot to get this to work. And like we've said with the Zumbini example, Cultist Simulator, and 12 Labors of Hercules, they're basically making use of what's already in the game. Now, of course, you could go the extra mile and design original assets and original scenes or screens to make use of the trophy room, but I think that would go a little bit beyond what a lot of people are thinking. But it's very interesting to talk about achievements like this, because depending upon the designer or the consumer that you're describing or you're talking to, they may or may not care about achievements at all. And you can see this from a design standpoint on how developers put them in their game. If you just see the generic list, beat level 1, beat level 2, beat the game on normal, beat the game on hard, then that developer probably didn't really think too much about having achievements in their game. But then you have cases such as with Valve and their games, with having all manner of weird and unique achievements. Turn off every radio in Portal. Collect some weird item. The very famous Noam Chomsky achievement in Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and so on. And this is where I think achievements could become elevated in a way, that you start thinking about them not as some secondary thing or busy work, but as part of the equation or the experience of playing your game. And when you think of it like that, then you then should start thinking about how do you best represent that within the game itself. And when this works, again, it adds that little extra something I feel that's missing from traditional achievements. And I think it also shows the developer kind of going the extra mile in terms of thinking about their design. But to summarize our video for today, the very best or very worst achievements all take place outside of the game space itself. They may unlock something within the game, but their actual use or the actual achievement of getting the achievement, I guess, remains outside of it. And the only cases where this doesn't appear to be the case is with what I've called the trophy room design, wherein the achievements themselves are represented within the game, as a way for the player to not only see them, but also to start to collect all the various rewards and understand that there is more to play in this game than just seeing it from beginning to end. In many cases, good trophy room design is literally just taking some of the assets that you've already made and showing them on the screen or in a certain spot. And while this may sound hokey or trite depending upon your own thoughts on achievements, it can go a long way towards motivating the player to play your game in more ways or in different ways as well. Now, in terms of designing achievements, what makes good or bad ones, that's a topic we can certainly save for another piece. But thank you so much for watching today's video. For those of you watching right now, my question for you is, can you think of games that did a great job of having the quote-unquote trophy room in them? And besides the ones that I mentioned, let me know in the comments below. And what are some of your favorite achievements in games? Be they weird, incredibly difficult, or just something so completely random that you never thought the developer thought of this beforehand. Let me know in the comments below, but thank you so much for watching. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. If you're looking for a book on design, my first title, 20 Essential Games to Study, is out now. It is available where most books are sold, and it comes in paper, hardcover, or digital copies. This is the perfect book for anyone interested in learning about game design, whether you are a student, enthusiast, or just a fan. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel linked down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.